What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at this 2023 BMW X6. This one is an xDrive40i finished off in carbon black metallic, and it has that M Sport package. Original MSRP is around $71,000 for an SUV like this. Big shout out and thank you to 704 Exotics for providing this SUV for today's video. Take a look at their website, link down below. Underneath the hood of the 2023 BMW X6 40i, you're going to find the turbocharged 3-liter inline 6-cylinder motor. This B58 is also paired to a 48-volt mild hybrid system and pumps out 375 horsepower with 398 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission and sends the power to all 4 wheels. Curb weight is around 5,000 pounds, can even do 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds, and the fuel capacity is 21.9 gallons. You can also expect 21 miles per gallon in the city with 25 out on the highway, and then max towing is close to 7,000 pounds. Overall length is 194.8 inches with wheelbase at 117.1, width is 78.9, and height is 66.3 inches. Moving on to the exterior styling with BMW's X6. This is very similar to the X5, however, you're going to see that coupe-like design. Up front, we get BMW's laser headlights, very nice design, along with some blue trim in the center, and of course you're going to get daytime running lights. Towards the center, we get a blacked out kidney-shaped grille with gloss black and matte black for these pieces, and you can also see the active grille shutters in back. All gloss black trim surrounding it, and then more gloss black trim for the lower bumper. You're going to see functional air inlets in the center with active grille shutters to open and close depending on what kind of efficiency or cooling needs the vehicle is going to desire. You're also going to see more trim in the farthest sides with all of your parking sensors down below, and it has a pretty aggressive look. I love the overall front end appearance of the X6. It's nice and sporty, especially with that M Sport package. And then as we make our way to the hood, you get the BMW logo right on top, and then pretty sharp lines fading their way towards that windshield. And then at the side profile, we get BMW's M Sport wheels. Really nice multi-spoke design, finished in gloss black. They're 22-inch diameter, and you can see that BMW blue along these front brake calipers. Get a nice body color trim piece surrounding the wheel arch, and then a really cool trim piece behind the front wheel. You can see how those lines integrate into the side profile with a nice design for the side skirt. We also get body colored along the door handles, and then body colored on the mirror caps with gloss black and an LED turn signal all integrated. There's all gloss black trim surrounding these windows, glass roof up on top, and when we take a look at the side profile, this is when you can see that coupe appearance. You can see how the rear end just slopes all the way into the trunk, just giving it that pretty sporty design. Pretty proportional vehicle overall as well. I think the lines really do come together, and I like the modern X6. It looks a lot better than before, and I think the rear end actually fits this vehicle. You can see how the rear fender arches bulge outwards just a little bit to give it that added width. And then we get LED taillights. Very smooth within the bodywork, nearly connecting towards the center. Got that BMW badge, a small integrated spoiler up on top, same with up on the roof. And then in back we get the X6 logo on the left, some gray trim throughout the rear bumper along with a massive rear diffuser. You can also see the dual exhaust finished off in dark trim, and then we have a big trim piece on each side of the bumper. Moving on to the key fob, you can see all of your buttons on it along with the M colors, and we even have a very cool credit card style key fob as well, which is a really nice touch. If I go ahead and lock the X6, it does feature power folding side mirrors, but all you have to do is grab the door handle. Of course it will unlock, and we can move on to the interior. Beautiful light colored leather interior for this particular spec. And then the door panel has the contrast. You're going to see the smooth synthetic leather material up top in black, and then the very smooth lighter color. We have all of our window and mirror controls, along with a grab handle and ambient lighting, release handle, memory seating, along with a tailgate release. You got your speaker system as well, and then some storage down below. We get the M logo on the door sill, and then all of your power controls for these seats. We even have adjustable bolsters as well as lumbar support down below that. We have a leg rest that will pop out manually. And then I really like the perforations throughout the leather. You can also see the diamond stitching to it. A very nice pattern, making our way all the way up towards the headrest. Very cool look. And then we get a round black leather steering wheel with the M logo. And then now inside the X6, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. Both of the screens are going to turn on. And then moving on to the gauge cluster, You can see the speedometer on the left with your fuel level, and then on the right side we get a power percentage, your battery, and engine temperature. There's a navigation screen right in the center, and you can configure the screen just a little bit by tapping this BC icon. You can see your horsepower and torque gauges. You're also going to get a G-force meter, audio settings that'll pop up, along with your gear as well as drive mode. If we go ahead and change drive modes, you can see that down below. We have the Eco, Comfort, and Sport. If we go into Eco mode right now, you're going to see your power percentage on the right, a little bit more conservative design. Back into Comfort mode, you can see how it was. And then into Sport mode, we now get a tachometer on the far right side. And of course, you can configure individual mode, adjust your damping, steering, engine, things like that. Taking a look at the steering wheel, we get a nice leather-wrapped airbag cover with contrast stitching. All of your cruise control settings are on the left side, some Bluetooth and audio on the right, and we do have paddle shifters on the back. We have the stock on the right side for windshield wipers, turn signal on the left with your automatic high beam, and we even get an automatic button for your tilt and telescoping steering column. All of your headlight controls are down below with interior dimming. You can get a little bit of that ambient lighting, all of your air vents, and then a nice synthetic leather material across the dash. There is of course a heads-up display system, more of the synthetic material with cool stitching running across the dashboard. There's more ambient lighting and this cool aluminum colored plastic. If we take a look now at the screen, 2024 is when they updated the screen to have the massive individual screen. So this is still the previous generation for 2023, but we have the home screen with navigation, communication. You can also adjust this, configure everything you'd like to see in your home screen. Then you can control on the left side all these different shortcuts for audio, communication pops up, full screen navigation as well. Very nice view. And then if we go under car, you can see all sorts of information. Under driving information, we get our sport displays. If you want to see a little bit more of the vehicle, you have more things like that. And then going back into car, you can see a few more settings within the car as well. And then going all the way into apps, there's quite a few things, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and then all sorts of different apps within the vehicle. Now if I go ahead and push us into reverse, we have a backup camera on the left side with all of your parking sensors on the right side. You can opt for a 360 camera view as well. Going back into park, underneath the screen we have our safety sensor icon. If we tap this, all that intelligent safety pops up. You can configure it and you can see all the things you're able to adjust. And then down below for climate, I really like how the X6 not only gets dual zone temperature, but you have dual zone fan speed. I think more cars need to see this. We have a menu AC icon as well, where you can synchronize everything, adjust some of the settings, heated seat controls, all of your different zones. So I really like how you get the screen as well as those physical buttons. Down below, we get some audio controls, more of this aluminum colored material, as well as the smooth leather. And if I push this out of the way, you can see some storage down below, our key fob slot, along with 2 cup holders and a 12 volt. And then behind that, we have the cool crystal design for that shifter and start button. Really cool, especially with the X logo right in it. We have traction control and parking sensors, and then a rotary dial on the far right side. This is also another way to configure the screen. So you can configure it very easily. You can rotate the dial, adjust all sorts of different items. We do have a few different shortcuts you're able to go into. So nicely, you don't always have to use touchscreen. You got a cool dial down below. We get a little bit of piano black, electronic park and brake, aluminum trim, and then we have a decent amount of space in here along with a plug. I like how they open individually. And then on the right side, if we take a look at the glove box, typical amount of space as you would expect. One last look at the interior. Of course, the 2024 has the new screen, but other than that, pretty much what you're gonna see in a brand new X6. We get a black headliner. You can see a little bit how the roof line dips down, and a massive sunshade for the panoramic roof. There's also LED dome lights up on top and a frameless mirror. And then moving on to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, door panel's finished off just like we saw up front. We even get an addition to the manual sunshade. All the same seating materials with the cool perforations in the center with a smooth leather outside of that. This can seat 3 people, and then there is a spot in the center. If we pull this down, we have a nice armrest along with 2 cup holders and then storage down below. Pretty nicely integrated into that center piece. We also get climate controls with your vents, along with all the controls down here with their own screen. You can see ambient lighting underneath the seats, storage and a plug, and then storage behind these seats. And if I go ahead and grab this lever, I can easily pull these down. They're gonna fold down and lock flat to give you better cargo space and a good entry point into the rear. All right, hopping into the back seat of the X6. I think this is the first time actually being in an X6. These seats do feel pretty low to the ground, so it's a little bit interesting, much different than an X5 actually. At 5'11", I do have plenty of headroom, even with that sloping roof. And the driver's seat at my height, I get good knee room and foot room as well. Good armrests on the left and right side. You definitely notice the window line is a little higher than what you might be used to. And of course, just one small window back here. So it's definitely different than an X5. However, a full-grown adult honestly fits back here pretty nice. Seats don't recline, unfortunately. I wouldn't mind them reclining a little bit more. But overall, it's a pretty decent back row for being a coupe-like SUV. Moving on to the cargo area, I can just hold down the button on the key fob. We're gonna open up the trunk area. Of course, it's power operated. You do get a pretty large privacy cover down here that you can fold out of the way. And then this is a very squared off cargo area. Nice and wide in here with no fender arches or anything in the way. You can open this up as well and you can see we have a gas strut, a spare tire. And then with the seats folded down and the privacy cover removed, you can see just how much more storage space you're gonna get in the back of an X6. And then going through the side doors, once again, quite a lot of storage up in front. And once again, really practical SUV for giving, you don't have quite as much space up above like an X5, but pretty good overall. All right, setting off in the X4. So this is a pretty peppy vehicle. It still has a lot of power for being not the V8. Of course, you can spec this pretty nicely with the M's and then the full-on M competition. But this motor really does give this a sporty, fun to drive aspect that I really like. It seems like a really well-balanced crossover SUV. As far as some normal things, if we tone it down into eco, go back into automatic mode, it's a comfortable, nice vehicle to be in. Of course, being a BMW, you got the luxuries, the refined driving experience. Suspension is very nice and soft, especially in eco or comfort mode. It feels like a relaxing vehicle to be in. And you're nice and high up, it feels like a normal SUV, even though it's kind of got that sporty vibe, given it's the X6 versus the X5. But you have a great view out of your windshield, mirrors all do a great job. And even when you do look over your right side, it's really not all too bad how it's sloped down. You still have plenty of window back and side to where you can kind of see around nicely. So you really don't have any negative effects. The mild hybrid system also is really cool. The slow speed, you might feel it a little bit just carrying the car. So it's a really good blend to give this a little bit more economical design for the drivetrain versus just a standard engine and transmission. Normal driving, the transmission's smooth. You don't feel any shifting or anything like that. I mean, honestly, it's a nice place to be. It's a nice driving vehicle. Very smooth, very quiet. You don't really hear anything, even going higher speeds than what we're doing. Seats are really comfortable too. Like, they really support you nicely. Materials you touch are good. Armrests are in a great place. Really no complaints for just being a normal vehicle. This is gonna be someone's daily driver, their daily with the kids in the back, family, stuff like that. And this can absolutely do all of that. It can be just a normal vehicle, but you can still have a little bit of fun, even being the standard engine. It just kind of opens up a little bit. And with that ZF8 speed, when you're in the sport mode, it is super responsive and direct. It really lets you control the car, and there's no guessing. There's no slop within the transmission or drivetrain or anything like that. It just feels like a very well-balanced vehicle. And then if we get back up to some speed, drop a gear, you can hear the turbo just a little bit. Not a bad blend at all. And as far as using the tech when you're in the car, I mean, it's simple, easy, familiar. I don't think you can complain. It has a really good driving experience, plenty of comfort and space, and pretty good technology overall. All right, turning around to my honest thoughts with this car. One thing I love about BMW is they don't make slow cars. This being the 40i, you're gonna get that 6-cylinder, and it feels properly quick. It's nice to drive, it never feels slow or sluggish. And I think there's a problem in this segment of some of these expensive luxury brands where they put wimpy little 4-cylinders in. You're paying all this money for a nice car and you get a slow car at the end of the day. Not to say everyone wants a 500 horsepower V8, but it's nice to have plenty of power just to drive it effortlessly. And BMW does that. Their 40i cars, especially this motor, is rock solid. It just drives really, really well. The looks are definitely not for everybody. I think it looks cool. I still prefer an X5 just because if I'm getting an SUV, might as well get all the practicality out of it. However, there's a lot of people who really aren't going to put a lot of stuff in their SUV and just need it for 4 people and a little bit of cargo. This has plenty of storage space, so you're really not sacrificing like you may think to get that coupe design. So it's a pretty cool combination overall. I think it kind of gives you a lot. And price-wise, you know, this one's a used car, of course, but brand new in the 70s for something like this, 70s to 80s maybe, depending on how you're going to spec it. Really not all too bad. Obviously, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be 40 grand like a more normal brand or anything. But when you're buying a BMW, you expect it to be something above and beyond. And when you're driving in this, you know, it feels just like a nice vehicle. I don't really think there's many things to complain about or not to like about it. It drives kind of like you would expect. There's nothing weird about it. It drives very nice to where you can tell it's high quality. You know, there's no loose ends, no rattles, nothing clunking. These things are really, really solid. And ever since about 2020, BMW has actually become insanely reliable. They are in the top 2, Toyota, Lexus, BMW. And obviously Lexus is Toyota. So BMW is up there in reliability lately, and it's because Toyota has like a 10% stake with them. And they have really helped BMW get out all those kinks of the past that made these not the best. So a modern BMW honestly is something you can own worry-free, enjoy the refinements, enjoy the performance. And when you compare this to other brands, it's actually not that much more expensive than some semi-luxury top-tier crossover SUVs. So I feel like you get a lot of good value with something like this, and I don't think you can really argue. It can tow a lot. It's very practical. It has off-road capabilities too if you're going to be going somewhere where, you know, you're not going to be on the pavement. So it's a pretty cool blend, and I really, especially for me, I love how you can actually drive this. It sounds sharper, it tightens up in sport mode. Like, it becomes a crossover family SUV that's actually fun, even though this is just the 40i. That M Sport package helps. You know, you got the better brakes, a little bit better aesthetics to it as well, and it just sharpens up the experience to make this a pretty well-rounded, fun SUV. But that is then it for the 2023 BMW X6, the xDrive40i. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content. And a big shout out once again to 704 Exotics for providing this vehicle for today's video. Take a look at their website, linked down below. They have a very nice selection of pre-owned cool cars, so definitely check them out. That is it, guys. I will see you in the next video.